Good afternoon. Am I audible? Good afternoon. I thank the organizers of WPS for giving me an opportunity to present my uh, topic. Today is on biscuits and bread enzymes, okay, from the industrial angle. Yeah. What are enzymes? My topic today is going to be on enzymes. A lot of people have already spoken about enzymes, but I just want to introduce a topic that makes a huge difference to our industrial products. So it's basically an industrial perspective. What are enzymes? Enzymes are basically biological catalysts. They're used in the food processing industry to bring about a chemical transformation. Example is starch liquefations in alcohol production or breakdown of starches in the bakery operations. Basically, enzymes are proteins. Proteins means a long, chain of amino acids connected by peptide bonds and folded into a specific three-dimensional orientations. Enzymes are very, very specific. Like, in the subsequent slides, I'll explain to you about the same thing. The enzymes are basically can be of animal origin or plant or yeast, mold, etc. Sorry, I'm given only 8 minutes. I had to do 400 meters in 100-meter time. There are about 2,500 enzymes that human being, has got. When we take a slice of bread, it feels sweet because of enzyme in the saliva, which acts on the starch, breaks down the starch, and gives you the sugar. Enzymes are also present significantly for various, you would have heard about lactose allergy. It is because an enzyme lactase is, missing in with you. There are no life possibility without enzymes. A ripening of banana is a typical enzymatic action. When you cut an apple, the browning is due to enzymatic action. Enzymes are very popular in the dairy industry, in the meat industry, in the beverages, whether it is alcoholic or soft, and not but last the least, in the bakery industry. What are enzymes? Enzymes are basically biological catalysts with enormous catalytic power. They are very, very specific. What do you mean by specific? I'll explain. They are proteins and they act typically in very mild conditions. That means temperatures have to be moderate and the pH has to be within a range. There are about 10,000 different types of enzymes. Usually, how are these enzymes produced? In fact, there are a couple of companies in India who are very big in enzyme production. And most of the enzymes that we get in the country are also from European sources or American sources. What are these enzymes? Enzymes are basically microorganisms. They can be bacteria or fungi. They are produced by using it in the closed vessel, exposed to a rich broth of nutrients and high concentration of oxygen. Microorganisms present break down the nutrients and they release the enzyme into the solutions, which are further, concentrated, filtered, and given to you either in liquid form or in crystal forms. What are the characters of enzymes? Enzymes actually they basically work in very mild conditions, as I told you earlier. They act only on a specific substrate. That means the enzyme that you are using will either act on a protein or on carbohydrate or on fat. An enzyme will not randomly act on all the three substrates. That is what we mean by specific action. They're very, very fast and numerous in nature. There are a lot of applications which I'll be touching upon. The enzymes follow typically a lock and key mechanism. You can have identical locks, but only a specific key will open the lock. Similarly, a specific enzyme will operate on a specific substrate and will give you, like for example, a maltose into 2-glucose. Okay. What are the factors that affects the enzyme actions? One is pH. They operate only in a particular pH for optimum actions. Similarly, they also operate in a particular temperature range. If the temperatures are very high, they get denatured. If the temperatures are very low, the activity is very low. Also, the iron also has got an action on enzymes. What are the typical enzymes that we use in bread? You know, we already earlier spoke about amylase and hemocellulase. Actually, in our country, where the wheat is typically medium hard, we don't get fancy 13%, 14% gluten wheat at all for the bakery. We don't grow the wheat for bakery industry at all, for bread industry. So the usage of enzyme has actually completely changed the way we look at the bread operations now. What are all the enzymes? Typically, that is used in the bread, it is amylases, maltogenic amylases, hemicellulase, lipase, and glucosidase. Okay. What do you mean by all these things? For this, let us go back to the wheat. If you look at the wheat consists of carbohydrate, protein, water, fat, and minerals. And if you look at carbohydrate critically, they consist of starch, sugar, and cellulose. So there are a lot of substrates available, and there is an opportunity to use enzymes so that we are able to get the maximum, result out of the enzymatic action on the wheat. Some of the nomenclatures typically used are proteases, they act on the proteins. Lipases, they act on the fats and oils. Maltase, they act on maltose. Amylases, they act on amylose. Okay, let me just talk about amylase a little bit here. This is the most popular enzyme. Enzyme in 80s used to be only amylose in this country. We never had anything beyond that. I started using amylose way back in 79, 80. And amylases are typically added in the spawn stage in a yeast leaven product. Amylases act on the starch matrix. What are starch matrix? The next slide, I'll tell you that. They typically have a random action on both amylase as well as amylopectin. A little complication, Starch consists of amylose and amylopectin. Starch is nothing but a glucose chain. If the glucose chain are linearly oriented, it is called amylose. If they are branch orientation, it's called amylopectin. Okay. What are the sources of amylose? It can be a sprouted wheat. Way back in 1984, when I was assistant factory manager of Britannia in Delhi, it had rained, a premature shower we had. So the falling number means the maltose value of the wheat was so low we could never produce wheat. I'm sure Dr. Krishna will, agree with me on that. We could not produce any wheat, and wheat was a essential commodity in the city of Delhi. Delhi used to consume those days 4 lakh loaves. So if you deny, production of bread, then there will be a problem. So we had to find a solution. Enzymatic solutions actually helped us to save the day that time. Malted barley is another source. Fungal organism or bacterial organisms are other sources. Okay, this is what I mean. If you look at the glucose chain, the linear orientation is called amylose. Enzyme amylase will act on the amylose. It will cleave and give you glucose or maltose or polysaccharides or limit dextrins. There are certain enzymes which will act on the branch chains, which are maltogenic amylases. That also cleaves and gives you limit dextrin. And what does a limit dextrin do? The limit dextrin creates a property in the bread which improves the water absorption property of the water retention of the bread. That means the bread will not become hard in 3 days or 4 days.
Sorry, sir. You'll have to kindly conclude. I'm so sorry.
2 minutes?
Yes.
I had to rush. Sorry about it. Okay. I spoke, mainly about the bread enzymes. Let me introduce a very interesting concept which is very much happening in this country. These are biscuit enzymes. 1 minute, I'll show you the slide. The action of the enzymes. See, the combination of enzymes give you a product. You can see on the left, one with the enzymes has given you a white texture. The other one is a control, which is a brown texture. You can see it better here. The one on the left is with the enzymes, combination of enzymes. The other one is the control with our 10% gluten wheat. I've given you the data, the weight also, you know. The one with the bold volume is 380 grams, one with the less volume is 410 grams. These enzymes, when you isomerize them, that means the same chemical formula but different structure, they give rise to biscuit enzymes. Okay, I'll cut all this, I'll show you the result. The slides are slow. See, when you do an enzymatic treatment to a biscuit dough, can you see the result? One on the left side is a control, the other side is, for the same volume, we are getting a different weight. There is a weight saving of 4 grams. If you see a glucose biscuit, you know, you achieved a weight of 67 grams as against 75 grams, which is the normal weight. If you look at another short dough product, a choco chip cookie, you know, one on the left side is without the enzymes. On the right side, with the enzymes, you can see a gloss, a glow, and the stack. That means the volume of the product is also more. It is 47 millimeters against 43 millimeters. And what are these products? What do they do? You see the pack. One on the right is a bold pack for the same weight. Similarly, if you see a cracker, a sweet and salt cracker, one on the right-hand side gives you a gloss, a glow, and a higher stack length. You know, and if you see the pack weight, it's a surprising result. You see, one down, all of you are used to that product, you know. That is 69 grams. The other one is 64 grams, but that one is much larger than the 69 gram weight. That is what enzymes do in biscuits. If you see a very popular brand, you know, without the enzymes, and with the enzymes, you can see the glow, the gloss, and the stack length. This is 61 millimeters, that is 68 millimeters. And what does it do? The pack looks much larger. And if you look at the weight, a typical parlay packet is 50 grams, the other one is 43 grams. So a 43 gram pack is looking larger than a 50 gram. So it makes a lot of commercial sense, you know. So just to summarize, the biscuit enzymes are revolutionizing the industry. Dr. Krishna mentioned that, you know, we are the second largest manufacturer of biscuits. No, we are the largest manufacturer of biscuits. Our figures are way beyond our imagination today. It is 8.8 million tons of biscuits we produce. Just Britannia alone produces 1.2 million tons. Parle produces 1.4 million tons. There are another 150 companies here in this country. So that is the opportunity that is there. If you can play around with the bread enzymes, isomerize them, convert them and make them, you know, hydrophobic. Bread enzymes are hydrophilic. They have affinity for water. They want to absorb water, whereas biscuit is all about baking out the moisture. So it has to be hydrophobic. And that is what we have done. And this has completely revolutionized the basic concept of usage of enzyme in biscuits. People typically will talk about, you know, proteolytic enzymes. Enzymes can be used in fermented dough. Today we are using the enzymes in short dough, which is like glucose biscuits. We are doing biscuits like Mari, which is hard dough biscuits. We are also using in, you know, cream crackers. We are using in fermented varieties. Enzyme uses in biscuit industry is virtually on par with the bread industry. What does, finally, just to summarize.
Mr. Sundar, we're just out of time.
Just 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Enzymes, you can reduce the fat by 30 to 40% in the recipe. Fat is the costliest ingredient in the biscuits. It improves the mouthfeel. Even after reducing the fat, it improves the mouthfeel. The color improves, as you saw in the slide. The stack and the volume improves. The weight reduces. Basically, it makes your industry viable. We are, remember, in a 5 rupee packet industry. If you have to sustain it for another 20 more years, the way we have sustained the last 20 years, this is the way. With this, I